Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today's What If is the third part of What If Goku and Yamcha were brothers. If you guys do enjoy the video, then why not subscribe? It's free and you can always unsubscribe later. Also, join a Discord where you can talk to me, chat with people, and also grind for roles. But with all of that out of the way, let's begin. What if Goku and Yamcha were brothers? We start this part off with everyone meeting at Master Roshi's house. And like normal, Goku does introduces his new son, including with Yamcha also introducing his new son, Trunks. Yeah, Trunks is born early in this timeline. And also Bulma and Yamcha is married. While everyone there is enjoying themselves, Piccolo does encounter Raditz when he lands on the planet. But that encounter will go to save, with Raditz heading off to the nearest highest power level he can sense. Eventually he would crash down, meeting his two brothers. Everyone is wondering who the heck this guy is, but he introduces himself, calling himself Raditz, and that he is the brother of these two, Goku and Yamcha, or Kakarot if you want to call him that. Of course, Raditz will tell the two Saiyans to join him so we can destroy this planet, but they will both disagree with him. Raditz will get angry and would try to take Trunks and Gohan. But Yamcha and Goku stops him, and they eventually get into a fight. Luckily, Goku has been keeping up with his training, and his power level is actually pretty impressive. It's around 750. But for Yamcha's, unfortunately, it decreases. Yamcha has been lately cocky, and the reason is he was able to defeat everyone in the Bucchigiri tournaments, and he kept on defeating every enemy that was in his way, so of course he would act like this. But once he eventually had Trunks, he stopped training, and he said that even if a threat did come, he was confident enough that he could stop them. So unfortunately, Yamcha's power level did decrease all the way to 850, which is still not too bad. And luckily for the two Saiyans, they was able to get on top and was able to beat Raditz. Of course, Raditz is on the ground, beaten. He says that his two comrades would revenge him if he dies. And plus, they're way stronger than even he is. With Yamcha being a little cocky, he says that they'll be able to defeat them. And plus, thanks to Goku and Yamcha having perfect synergy, they was able to easily take down Raditz. So, how hard could these other two Saiyans be? Yamcha is ready to finish off Raditz, but eventually he starts having flashbacks of him playing with his older brother, Raditz. He starts holding his head, saying that he can't kill him. Goku would actually agree with Yamcha. I mean, this timeline, he didn't really do anything too bad. So Goku really wouldn't want to kill Raditz either. Raditz just thinks that they're toying with him at this point, so he tries standing back up, try to do a final attack. But with ease, they are able to knock out Raditz. Now Goku and the others are wondering what they should do about him. Well, they already plan to keep him alive, so that's the first step. So what should they do with him now? Well, they totally should not tell him about the Dragon Balls. And of course, Vegeta and Nappa are hearing their conversation right now, and they're interested about these Dragon Balls. And it's gonna take them a year, but they're heading to Earth right now. Yamcha makes sure to blow up the scouter, but it's already too late. But Yamcha doesn't know that. Well, for now they're going to need to start training before those other Saiyans arrive. So they would eventually start training. And if you guys are wondering about what Piccolo's doing, he did confront the Sea Fighters. He did tell them that he was going to help, but once they managed to defeat those Saiyans, he would get his revenge. Then he heads off. Everyone would start their training. Gohan and Trunks would train with Master Roshi so they can get a little bit of experience with fighting. And also took a little convincing for Chi-Chi to let Gohan fight. Goku and Yamcha are training in a gravity room, where they can go all out without holding back. Eventually, Kame would tell them to come to the lookout. He does have something to help them with their training. They would go to the lookout to see what Kame was thinking. And Kame would suggest that they go to King Kai's. They did already check with King Kai, and King Kai doesn't mind having two students on his planet. Of course, they would love to to get stronger, so they suggest they do this. But before they leave, they almost forgot about someone, Raditz. Now, what have Raditz been doing? Well, he's actually been in the hospital. He's pretty much beaten down to where he can't even do nothing. And the group decided not to give him a senzu bean since they can't trust him yet. Goku and Yamcha does meet up with Raditz, and they tell him that if they heal him up right now, will he just join the good side or would he stay his old evil ways? He is about to insult them, but he thinks about it a little bit. He thinks to himself that maybe he can also have peace just like his two brothers. He's always been slaughtering people and planets. Maybe he can just take a break. He did overhear his father saying that he just wanted to protect something. And he says yes, that he'll turn good. Goku makes sure that he's being truthful and reads his mind. Once he noticed that Raditz was being truthful, he gives Raditz a senzu bean. Raditz is back at full health, and he has a nice Zenkai boost. They go back to Kame's lookout, and Kame does teleport them all to other world. Once they make it to other world, they do meet King Yama. King Yama's kinda mad at Kame. He was only expecting Goku and Yamcha, not Raditz. King Yama already heard a lot about Raditz, and he tells the Saiyans that Raditz is forbidden to go into heaven. He killed lots of innocent people and creatures. Of course, King Yama would notice that Raditz's heart is changing, but he needs proof, so he can't allow Raditz to go to heaven. Yamcha and Goku tries convincing King Yama to let Raditz go to heaven, and they was able to be successful, but King Yama says that there are some rules. First off, Raditz is forbidden for learning any new techniques while he's in the other world. Number 2, Raditz must be always under watch, so he's gonna bring one of his henchmen to watch over them. Yamcha's about to disagree with King Yama, but Raditz says that this is the best for him, and that he is at least allowing him to go to heaven. Yamcha stays silent and agrees. Eventually, King Yama would tell King Kai to get them, since it's gonna be way too long for them to go to Snake Way. So King Kai teleports to heaven and gets the 3 Saiyans and teleports back to his planet. And they would eventually start their training. This time they'll be able to train for the full 10 months at King Kai's planet, since they didn't need to run Snake Way or anything to waste their time. Of course, Goku and Yamcha would learn the Kaioken and Spirit Bomb, and Raditz is just boosting up his normal base power. Goku and Yamcha are able to use their Kaioken up to 10 times. But if they want to, they could also do the 20 times, but that's gonna pressure their body. Of course, the Saiyans wasn't the only ones that have been training. Back on Earth, all these human fighters are training. With the hybrids, they had to stop training with Master Roshi since he couldn't keep up with their power. But they did learn the basics of martial arts. Eventually, the kids would have to go to Master Korin, and they would drink the Ultra Divine Water. Of course, they would be able to survive, and they do get a major boost in power. Of course, they would test their new power on each other by training and sparring, and they would even sometimes spar with the human fighters. Eventually, Goku, Yamcha, and Raditz will come to Earth 1 month earlier because it would be better to come early than to be late. Before we get to the Saiyan Saga, let's explain power levels. Starting off with Goku, his power level is 11,250. And with Kaioken times 10, 112,500. Yamcha's power level is at 12,326. And with Kaioken times 10, 123,260. Raditz's power level is at 14,620. Yeah, his power level in base is pretty strong since he's been focusing on base. Both Gohan and Trunks, both of their power levels are 2,300. Of course, those two would be strong with each other since they have insane potential and they've been training with each other. And honestly, all the humans' power levels might stay the same, but they might get a little higher, but it's not going to be really noticeable. But Piccolo's power level is 4,000. He was able to become much stronger. since he didn't need to focus on other people, and that mainly he just focused on himself and getting stronger. Eventually the 1 month will pass and the Saiyans will come to Earth. Both the Saiyans are shocked that Raditz is somehow still alive. They thought he died. Raditz just says that now he's on the good side. Of course, Nappa and Vegeta would think that this is disgusting and that he can also die with them. Nappa would plant some Cybermen just to test out everybody's power, and the kids would volunteer to fight the Cybermen. They eventually get into their fighting pose and fight all the Cybermen, and they do this with ease. Eventually, once all the Cybermen are done, Nappa decides to step up in the fight. Both of the kids are pretty confident that they can defeat Nappa, so the two step up to Nappa saying that there will be their opponents. But also someone else steps in, which is Piccolo. He says that he's gonna join this fight also. He wants to see how far his training has gotten him. Of course the kids doesn't want Piccolo to join, but he won't take no for an answer, so they just allow him. And we can say that this is going to be pretty much a breeze for the kids and Piccolo. But once Nappa uses all of his power, they get kind of a challenge. And Piccolo is mostly letting the two boys tank the other heavy hits, since he doesn't really care about Gohan nor Trunks since he was mostly by himself. Of course Yamcha would get angry, but he wouldn't interfere. He knows this is good training for the boys and great experience for them to learn. But eventually all of a sudden Vegeta will sneak attack Raditz. Simply Vegeta will want to go after Raditz first for being a traitor and joining the good side, so he thinks he deserves death first by under his hand. Of course Raditz is ready to fight Vegeta, and he's been waiting for this moment ever since he's been training. And of course they will start fighting it out. They would eventually start fighting. Once they started fighting, eventually the kids and Piccolo would have finished off Nappa. Piccolo was ready to kill him, but Goku stops Piccolo and says that maybe he can also turn good just like Raditz. Piccolo at first disagrees with Goku, but he would eventually agree with Goku and decide to keep him alive. Both Vegeta and Raditz are pretty even, but Vegeta starts using more of his power and Raditz is starting to lose ground and fast, and it's to a point where he's getting a beat down by Vegeta. Eventually Yamcha would step in and tell Raditz to tap out. Raditz didn't really want to, but he noticed a power gap between him and Vegeta, so he decides to let Yamcha handle it. Vegeta was trying to stop them, but Yamcha was able to easily stop Vegeta. Yamcha would say that he's his opponent now. Vegeta just laughs, saying that he guessed that he should be his first opponent to kill. They both dash at each other. Yamcha already sees that his base form won't be enough, so he activates Kaioken times 2. And with Kaioken times 2, Yamcha is giving Vegeta a beatdown. Even Vegeta at full power, Vegeta still can't do anything. Vegeta thinks that's impossible. How's he so strong? He tries attacking Yamcha more, but still it doesn't work. Eventually this results into Vegeta turning into a grade Ape way earlier. And Vegeta's really isn't injured this time, so he can use his fullest power. So Vegeta's power levels right now is at 180,000. They fight and it's clearly that Yamcha with Kaioken times 2 is clearly not going to work. So Yamcha goes Kaioken times 3 and that still doesn't work. But he does have the speed advantage. He goes 4 and 5 and he sees that those are not enough either. So he gives it everything he got and used Kaioken times 10. Now Yamcha does have the upper hand. Vegeta is getting hit from all around and it's hard for Vegeta to attack Yamcha with his speed. Vegeta gets annoyed. He goes up in the air, charging off a mouth blast, and he sends it down to Earth. Yamcha would notice this and that he's trying to blow up Earth, so he charges up a Kamehameha, sending it to Vegeta's mouth blast. They both clash, and it seems like Vegeta might have the upper hand. Yamcha's blast is getting pushed to Earth. Yamcha was ready to go to Kaioken times 20 to even pressure his body, but eventually he does get some help from Goku, who is already in Kaioken times 10. Then he gets more help from Raditz. They're all pushing back Vegeta's blast. Vegeta thinks that this is impossible. How could he be losing? How could they be beating him? He's a prince. Yamcha, Goku, and Raditz, they all scream, with all of them powering up their blast. And we can simply call this a brother's Kamehameha. Yeah, they did teach him how to do the Kamehameha Raditz. Vegeta would eventually get consumed by the blast. Yamcha, Goku, and Raditz will all sit on the floor being exhausted, thinking that the fight is over, but Vegeta falls down on Earth. Still in his grade 8 form, but Krillin uses a destructo disc to cut off his tail, and now he's back in his human form. Vegeta already knows that he's too weakened to fight anyone right now, so he immediately calls for his ship, and he crawls to his ship. Yamcha, Goku, and Raditz are just allowing him to escape. They know that if he tries to attack Earth again, that they can easily handle him. They tell him not to forget about his big buddy friend. They look back, but they don't see him. Eventually they hear a scream from Piccolo. Everyone looks to see Piccolo on the ground, dead. Everyone is shocked and wondering what's happening, who did that? Eventually they wouldn't notice Nappa. He has someone under his foot. It's Gohan, but Gohan isn't moving. Well, he's dead. Nappa crushed his skull by surprise, and he also attacked Piccolo by surprise, sending a blast by his way. Everyone is speechless, but except for Goku, he's angry. No, he's really angry. He screams. His ki flares up, with an intense yellow aura around him. Of course, Goku would transform into a Super Saiyan. There's also someone else's power level rising, this is of course Trunks. One of his best friends died, and he couldn't even stop the monster from doing it. He powers up, but this time it's different. A greenish aura is around his body. His hair flares up, and he transformed into an Akari. While Goku's in control of his form, Trunks is not, and he berserkly attacked Nappa, giving him a massive beatdown. Vegeta is terrified. He sees a Super Saiyan? Is Goku it? No. Is it that kid? What's happening? Vegeta honestly doesn't know. He gets in his pod and escapes the planet before they can even catch him. But right now, Nappa's getting a beatdown of his life. Eventually, Trunks does kill him, but Trunks is still under control and he attacks the Sea Fighters, but Goku does stop him with his new form and knocks him out. But eventually Goku would not get knocked out himself from being exhausted from this form. Everyone is just shocked on what just happened. They honestly don't know what to say. They take everyone to the hospital that was injured. And I feel like this is a good place to end this. Hopefully you guys do enjoy this part. If you do, don't forget to like the video. If we can get this to 10 likes, then I will continue this video. Also, if you haven't, join. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next part. Peace.